All right. Okay. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the world of Montessori sensory learning. My name is Divya, and thank you for joining in for today's sensory lessons. Just think of a moment, look at the weather. How are you feeling? So, if you would like to grab a hot coffee, you can go get it, right? So, everything is related to our sensory lessons today. Whatever could be your favorite flower, the fragrance of it, and our voices are so different. And why do we feel everything is so different? It could be the coffee. When you're sipping it, is it hot? When you're smelling the fragrance of a flower, is it pleasant? Is it nice? Or how is your friend's voice? Is it loud or is it low? Or is it sounding good enough? Right? All these things we are able to perceive is only because of our senses. And Dr. Montessori also believed that the children can learn the best using their five senses. It could be their eyes, ears, their hands, their nose, the tongue, so that they would be able to explore the world around them. So, what did she do? She designed the material. We could say those materials as the sensorial materials, right? So, she designs the materials, she helps the child to refine their senses so that the child is able to see the differences in the colors. When we see beautiful things around us, we also visualize, we also see the tiny differences in the colors. And when you go closer to that particular object, you might feel like holding them with your hand. You can feel the tactile sense of that object. When you're lifting that object, you also can sense or feel the weight of that object. When you're playing around with that object, you can also hear whether that object is making some soft or the loud sounds. If you want to smell that object, it's the same object that I'm talking about. I can still smell. If it's an edible one or if it's an eatable, I can also take a bite. I can also taste, right? But tasting comes with awareness. You should know whether I can eat it or whether I cannot eat that. So when you are completely with your senses and you're aware about it, and the adult, being a teacher or a parent, is able to encourage the child would be able to get all the glimpse of it. This is what Dr. Montessori was also talking about. Just like how we adults enjoy the crunch of chips or the soothing sound of rain, children also should experience it, right? But what most of the times we do as moms and dads, we might say you might catch up with cold, you shouldn't get drenched in the rain, you should not walk barefoot, the floor is little dirty, right? So we don't give them that experience itself. When as parents and teachers, you start helping the child to feel these moments, when the child experiences it, indirectly, you're trying to build the child's memory. The child will be logically strong and the child can also become more creative. This is what Dr. Montessori was reinforcing, and she made a set of exercises in our learning area as a sensorial learning, wherein children are not only given the objects to learn about the shapes, the sizes, the sounds, but also we work with a lot of other conceptuals. Okay, so here is to Dr. Montessori. We are learning through different kinds of exercises. How did she do that is something that we would also be learning. When she was working as a surgical assistant and when she was posted to work with mentally challenged children, she started observing certain people's work. Now, the gentleman over here you see, apart from Dr. Montessori, is Edward Seguin. He's a French physician. He's also a special educator. He worked specially with children in scholar entrepreneurship who were mentally challenged or who had deficient, right? So he was working with those children and he developed a series of exercises. So when Dr. Montessori was posted to that clinic, she was like looking at how is he training, how is he teaching these challenged children. And she also started to develop a series of exercises which not only help the children to learn, but it also helped them to train their senses. So from here is what we get an understanding why sensory education is so important, right? So this was the person, Edward Seguin. Along with Edward Seguin, there was also another French physician. His name is Jean Attard. Okay. These two were the people who actually influenced Dr. Montessori on the sensorial learning part of it. See, this is one part of it. But apart from them, you also get to meet Rosia and Pestalozzi. Again, they were working on development of sensory education. Earlier, the methodology of learning was very much rote. We used to get it by-hearted. We never had hands-on exercises. But in the West, these were the people who were working on hands-on learning. So when you give children a lot of hands-on exercises, there's a lot of development in senses that actually happens. They wanted to bring this sensory learning into education. So when this kind of inspiration was all going around, Dr. Montessori also picked up some methodology. She learned that, okay, these two people are developing some kind of a educational development. So why don't I also add to what is my observation? When she was working with Jean Ettard and Edward Sigmund, she also adapted their methodologies also. What was their methodology? Rosia's and Pestalozzi? Learning is through doing. Okay, so the more repetition actually started to work. So she learned with them. And that's when she adapted all these things. When the Italian government actually asked Dr. Montessori to open her own school, right? They said, if you are working with challenged children, can this method be applied to conventional schools? Can this method be applied to normal schools? Maria says, yes, we can do that. And that's when the first Montessori school called Casa di Bambini was started. So she had a lot of children who did not have much of, what I could say, the facilities or anything. They were deprived. They were usually the children of slum workers. So she started the school. She started working with all those children. And to the best of her knowledge, what she did was she only observed. So there were many materials which was organized and kept in order. So children were able to go pick the materials and learn on their own. So when each time the child was learning, the child was not only learning, but at the same time, the child was also experiencing the learning, right? And since they were children of multiple ages, that also gave them an added on advantage, which helped them not only by learning, but also they observed others. How are they doing? That led to child's better intelligence. They slowly, easily got adapted to whichever environment you posted. Look at the structure. Every child was involved. Every child was doing something or the other. So what was the interest? She led them to go outside and play. So this is a play for the child, but what is the skill that we are trying to work over there? The child is given shovel, the child was given some materials, so they could dig the soil, they could plant, they're watering the plants, so they were taking care of the environment. So these are certain exercises that we need to help the child at the beginning stages in the early years, because that helps their growth hormones also, right? The child was able to work with these materials. Now look at them. They are with the nature. They were so much connected to it. Look at the way that the classes were set up. Materials were all isolated. Every material, we helped them to learn one skill. So this started slowly. They were working. And slowly we got into grading to extreme levels. The child also learned a lot more on the vocabulary part of it. And to generalize it, she made those exercises available to the entire world, right? Now what you see is all the Montessori materials which is available is all compliant to SI units. The material that you use in India for a particular purpose is the same when you use them in America or any other part of the country or the world, right? So it's going to have the same dimensions. It's going to be used for the same purpose. It's going to have the same color. So they follow SI units. Okay, so the child will never be lost of the knowledge of what you're trying to teach. So she starts to segregate. Okay, I will have set of materials for visual sense, set of materials for tactile sense, set of materials for color or the chromic sense, some of the materials for tactile sense, for the sense of touch, like whatever we saw last time. Rough and smooth for touch boards, we had touch tablets, we had fabrics. And for temperatures, we saw thermic bottles, thermic tablets, right? For weights, we would also see something called as a Baric tablet. So these were all the extensions that for every area she started putting. And when you want to work on a tactile muscular sense, that's the other sense which we call it as the stereognostic sense, which we use it using a material called mystery bag, sorting trays. So these are some of the exercises that go a little beyond, right? We also learn about sense of hearing. So then today's class, after covering, we start with auditory sense, and then we work on baric sense for the weights. In today's session, we're going to cover the auditory sense, wherein the child will have the knowledge to differentiate between a soft sound, a loud sound, a pleasant sound. So what are the materials that we use? We might use sound boxes that you see. We might also use Montessori bells. And now when you want to look into the taste, or you want to learn about the taste, that's the gustatory learning or the gustatory sense. It's related to the sense of taste. The child should be able to differentiate whether it is salty, whether it is bitter, whether it is spicy, whether it is sour, or whether it is sweet. How are my taste exercises helping the child so that the child's taste buds are able to differentiate between all these tastes? That's related to our gustatory area. And towards the end, we work on olfactory sense, that is a sense of smell. We use a material called smelling jars. Okay, so when you combine all of them, along with that, we also work on certain other mixed areas. So we work on, for further challenges, right? We can get into something called as binomial cubes, trinomial cubes, constructive triangles, geometric figures, geometric solids. These are all the ones which might have more than one quality. Okay, till now we saw one quality, right? We only saw about smell. We saw about a weight. It was one quality. Now, in case if I have to go with more than one quality, I can see and I can feel and I can learn something. So I might have a lot of combined exercises to help for a child to learn for more than one quality. So we might also see these exercises. See, all of them are coming according to this itself. Now in sensorial, we don't only stop over here. We also extend our learning. So can I apply? See, when I'm walking in a park, or when your child has been taken on a nature walk, and if I've asked them to collect some leaves, don't you think that the child is also learning on the concept of botany or geography, right? We go to a particular place, it's related to my geography, and I'm learning about a plant, a part of a plant, that is my leaf. So that comes under my botany, right? So the leaves can be of different colors. The leaf can be of different shape. So it becomes as a cultural extension once, the conceptions, right? So we can have materials which can be like an extension materials also. Like, I can talk about which part of the country it is in. So I can learn about the geographical factors. Now, say, for example, Karnataka. What are the famous trees that you find in Karnataka? You can talk about that. You go around, you collect some leaves and come back. So my geographical factors would be my state. Okay. And in the botanical part, I can talk about the different parts. In the zoology, I can talk about the different animals that are found in this particular region. So these becomes as my cultural extensions, which will help my child to work on the different impressions of different areas. So do I have materials to support this? Yes. When we're learning on leaves, we have a material called leaf cabinet. When we're learning about the different parts of the state, I might have a puzzle map of that state. If I'm talking about a country, I can have a globe. I can show them where that country is. There are different kinds of globes, sandpaper globe and the colored globe. If I'm taking my sandpaper globe, okay, sandpaper will only have two colors. Wherever there is land, it's brown. And wherever there is water, it is blue. In the colored globe, you will see different colors for every continent. Water will be colored blue and every continent has got a different color. So we can learn on landforms, we can learn on cultural folders and so on. So that helps us to work on how naturally the child is learning and how spontaneously the teacher is preparing the materials so that the child can also put in the best of their efforts. So what as teachers you got to do is you got to trust the process of when the child is learning. Some children are a little quicker in learning. Some children take their own time when they're actually learning, right? So give them a little time so the child's learning would actually happen spontaneously. But what is a gentle reminder and a gentle request for a teacher? You got to prepare the environment, okay? What is the purpose of doing that exercises? If you start thinking on that, what is the intake my child is going to take if I'm doing this exercise? What could be the areas of error? How do I present this material? How is the child going to learn that? If I'm trying to repeat multiple times, is the child learning the vocabulary? If a child is not able to do that, how do I reinforce my 3-period lesson? Those are the areas that as a teacher you got to work on. All right. So keeping all of this in mind with a beautiful saying of what Dr. Montessori says, we step into the first material of today. That's going to be our, which one? The sense of, let me check. What's the next one?
Baric, ma'am, Baric.
Baric Tablets. Okay,
Weight.
Baric Tablets is the first one, which talks about our weight. Okay, because we are trying to work on the experiences of how are we feeling, right? So let's start working on that exercise. Okay, so everybody please note down the first material for today that we are going to concentrate is Baric Tablets. Take a quick look of the material itself. You will find there are 3 boxes. And look at all of the small tablet-sized wooden pieces they are. Look at the color. There are differences in the color too. Few tablets are darker. The center block is a medium color brown. And towards the end is a light color brown. That itself helps me to understand the darker the color, heavier is the tablet. Okay, so the child gets an understanding. A dark tablet is slightly heavier. The light tablet is slightly lighter. What's the concept that you're teaching? Light and heavy.
Light and heavy.
Yes. Since you do not want to get it integrated visually, what do? I actually blindfold our children, right? We need to blindfold our child. So we use this material in our classes so that my child is able to perceive the weight. When they're able to perceive the weight and I'm holding 2 of the tablets on the tip of my fingers, okay? I need to hold at the tip of the fingers like this. I would be able to compare the weight, okay? So don't keep it at the middle of your palm. So we don't want it to be at the middle of the palm this way because you wouldn't be able to feel it. Keep it at the tips of your fingers and try to compare the weight. Is the child able to perceive which is heavy, which is light? That is what we're trying to reinforce over here. Do I teach about shape? No. Do I teach about the size? We don't teach. Do I talk about the color of it? We don't. But different weights is what we're trying to talk. So that's the reason this entire materials or every individual Montessori material, we isolate the property of what we are trying to teach. So with Baric Tablets, we teach weights. Okay, look at it. We have spread all the tablets right from the heaviest to the lightest. Okay, so you can grade them. So all the 3 boxes are there. Now coming down to what is the measurement? How much of weight it has? Say it's so tiny, so lightweight, right? My light tablets are 20 grams. My medium ones are 30 grams. The heavier ones are 40 grams. Not much of a difference. The child should be really careful when they're trying to work on it. Okay. So the light is 20. Please note down. The medium is 30 grams. And the heavier one is 40 grams. If you're unsure about it, if you have a weighing scale in your class, you can measure it. And help the child to also measure what is heavy and what is light. Okay. So we have understood. Now coming to the other thing. How many wooden tablets do I have in each box? I will have 6 wooden tablets. 6 light, 6 medium, 6 heavy. So totally 18 tablets is what I would have it in our Baric tablets. Why do we have to give Baric tablets? We know the reason. The child will have to differentiate between light, medium, and heavy. So when we are doing this, what are we doing? Through the help of sense of touch or the tactile sense, we are trying to refine the sense of weight, Baric sense. When they are doing, when they're closing their eyes and when they are doing, the child is concentrating. Because if they don't have concentration, they can't focus to find the subtle differences. See, difference is not too much. 10 grams will hardly make any difference. It wouldn't make difference. They have to really pay focus and attention. Okay, only then they would be able to find out that little difference. Indirectly, we are teaching them measurements. So whenever we talk about measurements, it comes also under a concept of physics. The weight discrimination, it comes under physics also, right? So, moreover, the finger grips, since it's held on the tip of the fingers, it also gives them that strength of their fine motor skills. So, later stages, I can also say it helps in fine motor, but again, we can't consider completely. There are other exercises also, but you see that that could be one of the added advantage also of the child learning about the physical memory. Okay, so that's the purpose. We understood the purpose. We learned the material. We know how many Baric tablets. We know the weights of each individual Baric tablet, right? And we have seen the material also. Now, how do I describe? The lightest one is made up of balsa wood. And your book doesn't give you this. The medium one, usually it is made from beechwood or oak wood. The thicker one, the heavier one, not the thicker, the heavier one is usually the mahogany or the teak. So there are differences in the wood also. So you have to not choose the same wood. Choose a different wood. Okay. And coming down to the SI units, you should always make sure the dimension of every tablet is 8 into 6 centimeters only. And the thickness is 1 centimeter. If you're unable to understand, you can take a ruler, you can measure it in your classes. The thickness is 1 centimeter and it is 8 by 6 tablet. Okay. That has been given. Now we got a quick material description. Look at the color. The color is also understood. So light wood is light color. Medium wood has got a medium brighter color. And the heavy wood is little darker color. Okay. So that's the reason you don't go by sight. You go by the feeling. How do you prepare? I spread a mat or a felt mat. I bring this Baric tablet material by keeping it onto a tray. I carry every time one tablet box. Come, settle it down. So after you bring all the sets of tablets, you open the lid of the tablet and slowly you will have to remove the tablet and keep it outside. Make sure the child's hands are clean and they are ready. So what are you trying to do? First, you ask the child to close their eyes. Your class is good enough to listen to you, you work on that. The children are not able to listen, put a blindfold so that there is no differences over there. Now you try to explore. So place one light, one medium or one light, one heavy in front of the child at the tip of the fingers and try to gently go up and down. You got to go up and down this way. Let them feel the weight. Don't go too quickly. Okay. So just do this. Let them feel. Okay. Now what happened? You are teaching the child how to hold the tablet also. Correct? Through the index, through the middle fingers and through the thumb. Everything is being held. Now you compare. You can tell them, children, which one feels heavier? See, this one feels heavier. You can ask questions. What is my child trying to do? They are exploring on their own. Now what I do, I can mix up the tablets and I can still ask them to find out which one feels lighter, which one feels heavier, which one is medium you feel, right? So you can go on and on. I can also do is I can stack them up. When I'm trying to stack all of them up like this, I can mix all my tablets. Earlier, I used to do one by one. Now I will mix everything. I can mix a light, medium, and heavy. And one by one, I can ask the child to feel it. What happened there? The child is taking gently. They're trying to put it. I have a hand-eye coordination. Okay. Fine motor skill is also becoming better. I'm still getting my weight perception also. Still, my blindfold is there. I'm able to differentiate between all these three weights. So what did my child learn here? The perception to compare and contrast. Easy, everyone? I wanted to show you a quick glimpse of this exercise of how we do it when we're trying to mixing it up, okay? So just give me a minute. I will just give you a glimpse of how we do this. Meanwhile, you can say what are the materials required?
Marking mat.
6.
Mat, very good.
Baric
Baric
tablets.
Baric tablet, very
Tray.
good. Okay.
Tray.
Okay. Tray, okay. How
And
many
Blind,
terms are
blind,
Baric tablets,
Yes.
blindfold.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. Just want
Waving machine.
Uh-huh. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So you spread out all the Montessori tablets, the Baric tablets. Keep it at the fingertips. You're able to visualize. You're able to see it. We don't visualize. That's the reason we always put a blindfold. Go up and down multiple times and find out whether it is light or heavy. This is the first exercise we do. Now what happens is like you understood, okay, whether this is heavy or whether this is light. Can I also do a comparison wherein I can actually take up two heavy? See, these are two heavier ones. Now the child feels it is the same weight. I can still say, okay, these two weights are same. They can go together. These two weights are heavy. They can go together, right? We can also do this as an extension. You're not only finding out whether it is heavy and light, but you can also compare, okay? There could be two possible positions. You can use your thumb also and hold them this way. Now, do they feel the same? Maybe they might feel the same. So they might go together. If you're very sure of it, you can actually look into this. This could be one of the possibility that you can actually work on that. So this is how you give the sensory lesson when we talk about the Montessori, the thermic sense for children. Okay. So that helps my students also to work on refining the sense of, the weights for them. Okay. So that's our Baric tablets. Easy, everyone? Now, how do we work on stacking part of it? Let me see if we have any other resources which goes on stacking part of it. I still have this one. I have one video from us. So when you try and stack this one, this is heavy and this is light. As a teacher, you can shuffle. You can shuffle the. Did you notice? Did you shuffle here?
Yes, ma'am.
It was here. We shuffled here. If you see here, the teacher has shuffled here. It was here. Now, if you notice here, it is kind of shuffled. I have mixed up. I've mixed my weights. And now the child is able to give you the differences of whether it is heavy, whether it is light. So you can work on this way. See, now you're trying to sort. Sorting is also an exercise. Sort if it is heavy or light. The child should be able to differentiate the sorting mechanism also. That gives the purpose of doing this exercise. Where could we go wrong here? What's the error of control? Child mixing up, right? Mixing up and not able to find whether it is heavy or light. So that becomes the error of control for the child. Okay. So apart from that, in case if you are looking for some other things like, the Baric tablet presentations, you can actually go on shuffling and differentiating and all of that. Okay. So that helps us to work on our skills. Now, what's the language? What is the language that we're trying to
Light.
work here?
Lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Light.
Very good.
Heavy,
Light,
heavier.
lighter, lightest. Heavy,
Heavy,
heavier,
heaviest.
and heaviest. Very good. Okay. So that completes the exercise of our Baric tablets. Is everybody clear with this? Can we go to the
Yes.
next one? Okay. The next material would be the sense of sound, auditory sound. Okay. Sense of sound is called the auditory sense, and we use a material.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Thermic tablets, we haven't completed the thermic tablets, right?
It's completed.
Thermic tablets, we didn't do it. Did we do
Yes,
thermic
ma'am.
tablets? We did, no?
We did, ma'am.
Thermic bottle.
We did, ma'am.
Thermic tablet.
We did thermic bottles
did,
and
we did.
thermic tablets last class, ma'am.
Okay,
You
we have done
explained
it.
that.
In case if somebody is not getting the glimpse of it, I'll just quickly show you so that you could recollect. This is the thermic tablet, sense of touch. We had natural materials, correct? We wanted to work on the conductivity, what about the temperatures? So we collected different tablets, which was made up of wood, metal, cork, felt, glass, stone. If you don't have this, you can also bring materials like marble, granite, glass, wood, felt, right? If you still don't have that, you can experience with your floors. You can take the children to different kinds of floors. Every floor will have a different temperature. You can ask them to touch the floor. You can ask them to touch the wall. You can ask them to touch the teacher's desk. The child can touch their own desk and the chair. Each material has got its own temperature, correct? And all of them are kept at the room temperature because the child has to differentiate between the temperatures. Now, what is the vocabulary that the child is going to feel here? Whether it is warm
Cold,
or whether it is cold. That's all.
Cold.
So these are the two temperatures. So this comes with a set of set of thermic tablets. Each will be in pair. Everything is in the room temperature. You need to use the most sensitive part of your body, that is the wrist. And you will touch the object through your wrist this way. So you are able to find out whether it is cold or warm. Do I use a blindfold? I use my blindfold. Yes. I'm comparing which one feels warmer, which one feels colder. That's all. I can't teach hot and cold here. I teach them warm and cold. Right? So it can't be too hot, right? The material can't be too hot. So I'm trying to classify. When I'm able to find out these two same temperatures, I will try and classify. I will segregate them and I'll say, okay, these two are cold. These two are warm. These two could be of the room temperatures. Now you got the glimpse. And then we also said the vocabulary, which is warm, which is cold, which is hot, which is cold. Let's compare. Let's touch the tablet. Then, did you remember now? We did a nature activity, going outdoor and experiencing the heat. Then again, going to the beach, finding out the temperature of the sand. And then we also asked to experience the water. Now the weather is cold. The child can experience the running tap water temperature. When it is sunny, the running tap water could be really warm and hot sometimes. Even when we ask the children to walk on the grass in the morning, they could experience the dew, right? So it will be very cool and wet in the morning. And when they walk on the afternoon, it might be a little dry. The grass might be dry. So this was helping us to work on our thermic tablets. Now you're able to recollect?
Yes, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Got it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. So that was our thermic tablet, which worked on the thermic sense. Now we are almost left out with another 30 seconds for this class. We can actually disconnect and connect back for the second material. That's our other material. Okay. So let's connect